Are you starting your first business? You start dipping your toes in the water on your own and things have almost immediately felt overwhelming to you. And then on top of that, you've got other people's opinions. You should make your logo orange, you should change your business name, you should get on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, right? You should start a podcast, SEO, all of that. Hey, I'm Ben Pages, and I help people start and grow their first business. In this video, I'm going to share the 5 most common mistakes that I've observed my clients make when they think about marketing. By the end of the video, you'll have a renewed sense of what marketing truly is and how to go about it with specific action steps. First mistake is that people don't ask themselves or they don't communicate effectively to their audience what problem does their company or product solve. My favorite definition of marketing comes from marketing author Seth Godin, and it goes as follows. Marketing is the generous act of helping someone solve a problem. Notice it's not about me. It's not about what I make. It's not about who I am. It is about them. It's about my consumers and what they need. So when you're putting a sentence on your website and you're selling, I have the latest cutting edge billing solution. Great, but I actually don't care. What does that do for me? What does that allow me to achieve? Take Apple, for example, and their first iPod, the original iPod. Their slogan was 1,000 songs in your pocket. Genius. There's no better way to explain how your product solves an issue. Right here, clearly we see that MP3 players at the time were just too bulky, and Apple changed that for people. Netflix, same story. Before Netflix, people had to drive to rent video, and then if they returned it late, they would have to pay a fee. Netflix solved that. Pay us a monthly subscription, stay at home, no problem, no hassle, right? And the last example I use is billion-dollar underwear company Spanx. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but what they ended up solving is women's garment showing underneath white pants. So back to you. What is the problem that you solve? What is the change that you seek to make? How are you helping your consumer get from where they are to where they want to be? The second mistake that I see people make is they never question or they never communicate to their consumers who it's for. And I hear you say already, it's for everyone, right? And that's kind of what we all tend to do. We have a product, it solves a problem, and we're willing to give it to anybody who's willing to pay, really. Now, there's a couple issues with that. By being generic, by being average, you really appeal to no one. You become no one. Right? There's power in saying, this is the specific community that I'm going to serve to the best of my ability. Not only that, it allows you to stand out as an expert in your field, to create that connection, and also to increase the value of your business. Because things that are scarce are also more valuable. We tend to not value very much the things that are available to everyone, that anybody can get, right? And there's also one last benefit to that, to creating a niche for yourself, to choosing a market. It is that it makes all your business decisions easier moving forward because you know the values, the beliefs, the thoughts of your consumers. Everything that you do, whether it's your website copy, the images you use, the language that you use to communicate is on point, is aligned with one specific subset of the population. All right, and now here you say already that like Facebook and Airbnb and Uber, they don't do that yet, they're very successful. Well, look again, because before these companies became as huge as they are today, they started very specific, very small. Let's use Facebook, for example. When Facebook started, they were only open to Harvard college students. That's a mere 5,000 people. And that worked really nicely. Then they opened up to more colleges and then they took the world by storm, right? So a niche, although it feels right now that you might have to say no to a lot of people in order to do that sacrifice, can open up in the long term. So don't be afraid to choose right now someone that you really feel committed to serving. Who's it for? Who are you willing to serve? Who, if your product or service were gone, would miss it? The third mistake that I see people make is that they don't differentiate themselves from the competition. Sure, now we've got a very specific niche and a very specific problem that we solve, but it's likely that other people are already doing the same thing. So we still have competition. we got to find one element that sets us apart from the crowd. One promise that we can make our customers that they can systematically expect from us every time they engage with our company. Let me show you some examples. If you take Apple, Apple makes beautifully designed and user-friendly products, no matter what they do. And that's reflected in every interaction that I'm gonna have with them, right? Their stores, their packaging, their website, and obviously their products. Take Zappos, incredible customer service. Every interaction I'm gonna have with the company, I know I'm gonna be delighted with the customer service. Another example, Tom's Shoes. I have the guarantee when I buy a pair of Tom's shoes that one pair is gonna go to a child in need across the world, right? Each of these companies has done something, committed to something that sets us apart from everybody else. Now, what is that promise for you? What can you offer your customers that they're not getting at the moment? And if you're not sure, go check out your competition's product reviews. Where are the friction points that still remain where people wish things were a little bit different than they already are? And offer just that. The fourth mistake that I see people make is to promote blindly. You'll see people make posts on Facebook and Instagram, they'll hear crickets, and when you ask them why they're on these platforms in the first place, they won't have an answer for you. They're on there because it's popular. They're on there because there's millions of people on it. Or they're on there because their friend Joe told them about it. You see, the alternative is to ask a different question. Where are my people going to look for solutions to their problems? Where do you find your audience's attention? You got to reverse engineer that so you can find out how you can most effectively put out messages that reach them. So it's not about getting your user's attention as much as it is to find it, right? As a starting entrepreneur, you don't have an audience. You don't have people who have raised their hands and said, yes, I want to hear from you. Let me know when you have a product out, or let me know where I can buy from you. So you've got to leverage other people's audiences in order to get started in the business. There are people who have already created communities, hundreds, thousands of people that fit your niche, people who have the problem that you're solving. Those could be subreddits, those could be Facebook groups, those could be specific hashtags where people go for answers. They could also be local meetups or conferences. It could be online, offline, you name it. Now, let's take the example of a cream. Let's say I'm making a cream that helps people get rid of acne, right? I know from my online research that there's a few places they'll go look for answers, for solutions. First of all, YouTube. They'll go see what other people dealing with acne are doing to help their problems. 2, I noticed there's a subreddit on Reddit about acne with over 100,000 users and engagements day in and day out. 3, what I'll do is Google how to get rid of acne and notice what comes at the very top of the page. In this case, I'll see that it's a series of products. They're ads, but they're little vignettes of products that help people alleviate acne. This would be another great place for me to be at. You see, I'm positioning myself where the attention already is. Now, as you follow this process, you're going to come up with a lot of ideas, and you don't have to do them all. You should not do them all. I would suggest pick 1 or 2, start with this, test them out for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and see if you get any results. Learn from it and move forward. The reason I'm saying that is that because it's easy as a solo entrepreneur to bite off more than you can chew. And again, go back to that feeling of overwhelm that we were mentioning in the beginning. So start small, keep learning, keep on testing, and grow from there. Now back to you, and I'm gonna leave you with that question that we mentioned earlier. Where is your audience going to find solutions to the problem that you're solving? All right, our final and 5th mistake that I see people do all the time is talk about themselves way too much, instead of speaking of their customers. And you'll see that on their website copy, you'll see that in their content. Everywhere you look, it will be my, I, we, R, and just not enough yous and yours. Remember, marketing is the generous act of helping someone solve a problem. How can you do that when you're talking about yourself? You don't. You focus on your audience and their problem, and you create a ton of value so that they're able to move forward away from their pains and closer to their goals. right? And that's applicable to everything that you do. Podcast episodes, blog posts, Facebook posts, anything that you create visually, whether it's on Pinterest or for Instagram. All of that needs to resonate with the audience. It's their words, their perception, their beliefs that you're enhancing, that you're blowing up, so that they feel understood and feel trust for you and your products. And result, if you do that consistently, over time, when they're ready to buy, when they're finally looking for a solution to their problem and ready to spend the money, you will be top of mind. They'll think of you. Now, for a little game, just go on your website if you have one and run a quick page search using Control and F, and then look up the word I or look up the word we, depending on how your website, and compare that to the number of times that you use the word you or your. And you'll be amazed how many times you've used the former instead of the latter. And that's a clue that you need to shift your perspective, your brand's perspective, closer to your consumer and further from your own interests. In summary, here are your next action steps. Number 1, define what problem you're solving in very clear terms that your audience will understand. Number 2, choose who you're going to solve that problem for. Number 3, commit to a promise, something that you'll do better than anybody else for as long as you exist. Number 4, put in the work of finding out where your audience hangs out. What are the platforms that they go to in order to find solutions to their problems? Number 5, make sure to talk about them more than you talk about you. Provide value consistently and do that at least 10 times until you ever ask for a sale. There you have it. Thanks for sticking around until the end of this video. I hope you've gotten a ton of value from it. And if you've got any thoughts, comments, questions, leave them in the comment box below. I'd be happy to answer them myself. And if you'd like to be first to know whenever we release a new video, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys around.